Hey everyone and welcome. We're so glad you're joining us. Today, we're diving into some really powerful wisdom from Bill Vincent and Revival Ways of Glory Ministries, all based on the book Anchored in Hope. We're going to talk about what it means to find a real, stable anchor when the storms of life feel like they are just about to tip you over.
Does that sound familiar? I mean, really, have you ever whispered those words? Maybe sitting in your car in the driveway, or late at night when you just can't shut your brain off. It's that raw, honest cry that comes from deep within when the weight of everything just feels like too much to carry. So before we can even start talking about finding an anchor, we have to get real about the storm. We have to acknowledge what it actually feels like to be overwhelmed. It's so much more than just a bad day. It's that crushing, suffocating feeling that makes you wonder if you'll ever catch your breath again.
And this right here, this is the feeling that Bill Vincent really unpacks. That sense that life has handed you way more than you can handle. And, the very first step toward relief is just admitting it. Just saying, yep, this is where I am. That feeling is real, it's valid, and it absolutely does not mean you failed. It just means you're human and you're carrying a really heavy load.
And that, of course, brings up this huge question that so many of us wrestle with, right? If I have faith, shouldn't I be stronger than this? Shouldn't I be able to just power through? But what's so amazing is how honest the Bible is about human struggle, even when it comes to its biggest heroes.
And honestly, the answer might just surprise you. It turns out, if you feel this way, you are in really good company. I mean, just look at this. David, a man described as being after God's own heart, felt completely downcast. Elijah, one of the most powerful prophets, was so defeated he literally asked God to end his life. And even Jesus felt a sorrow so deep, so overwhelming that he said it was like death itself. So no, this feeling is not a sign of weak faith. It's a sign of being human.
Okay, so our feelings are real, they're valid, but what do we do with them? We can't let them steer the ship, right? This is the critical moment where we have to make a choice, to shift from building our lives on the shifting sands of our feelings to building on a solid foundation of unchanging truth. And this, right here, this is where the real battle is won or lost, in our minds. We have to become experts at recognizing the lies that the storm screams at us and then intentionally, consciously replace them with the truths that anchor our souls. So when that voice whispers, "I'm not strong enough," we fight back with Isaiah 41:10. When it says this is never going to get better, we hold tight to Romans 8:28. It's about choosing to believe a truth that is so much bigger than our temporary storm.
So let's boil this whole foundation down to its absolute core. The book makes it clear that these three truths are the non-negotiables. Number one, God is with you. You are never, ever alone in your struggle. Number two, God is for you. He's not just watching from a distance. He is actively working on your behalf. And number three, God is your refuge, a safe harbor in the middle of the chaos. These are the promises that give us real stability when everything else in our world is shaking.
But here's the thing, right? Just knowing these truths in our head isn't the magic bullet. The next crucial step is actively keeping our minds fixed on them. This takes a real, intentional shift in our focus, because in any crisis, where you choose to look ultimately determines where you end up. The story of Peter walking on the water is the absolute perfect illustration of this. As long as his eyes were locked on Jesus, he was doing the impossible. He was walking on top of his storm. But the second he shifted his focus to the wind and the waves around him, he started to sink. Now think about that. His circumstances didn't change at all. The only thing that changed was his focus. But what I love is that even as he was sinking, all he had to do is cry out, and Jesus was right there to pull him up. It's such a powerful reminder that rescue is just one call away.
And hey, if this is really resonating with you and you want to explore these principles in a lot more detail, you can find a ton of great resources from Bill Vincent over on the ministry's website.
Okay, so we've covered having a foundation of truth, and we've talked about the importance of shifting our focus. But there is one more piece to this puzzle, and it is absolutely critical. It's each other. The simple fact is, we were never, ever meant to walk through these storms alone.
So what in the world does the number 3 have to do with community? Well, it all goes back to this incredible story in the book of Exodus. The people of Israel are in the middle of this fierce make-or-break battle, and the outcome, crazy enough, rests entirely on their leader, Moses. But here's the kicker. He couldn't do it alone. It actually took 3 people to win that day. And this isn't just some nice ancient story. It's this profound picture of what community is supposed to look like in action. Think about it. This is Moses, the great leader, and even he got tired. His arms grew heavy. So in that moment of weakness, his friends, Aaron and Hur, came alongside him and physically held his arms up until the very end, until the battle was won.
It really makes you stop and ask, who's holding my arms up when I get weary?
This verse from Ecclesiastes just says it all, doesn't it? We are literally designed for connection. Isolation is one of the most dangerous places to be when you're feeling overwhelmed, but community is God's antidote. Leaning on other people isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of incredible wisdom.
All right, so let's start to bring all of this together. How do we actually live this stuff out? How do we become people who are so anchored in hope that when the next storm inevitably comes, we aren't just tossed around by the chaos?
This verse from Hebrews, man, this gets to the very heart of the entire idea. It gives us that perfect metaphor, the anchor. Now, what does an anchor do? Its job is to hold a ship steady in a storm by connecting it to something stable and unseen, the seabed, not the chaotic waves on the surface. And that's exactly what hope in God does for our soul. It connects us to His unshakable, unchanging character, which is firm and secure no matter what's happening around us.
So, what does this look like in the real world, day to day? Here is a super practical game plan for how to stay anchored. First, acknowledge the storm. Just be honest with God about how you feel. Second, cling to His promises. Actually meditate on the truth of Scripture every single day. Third, fix your focus. Make the intentional choice to look to Jesus, not the chaos. Fourth, lean on your community. Let them carry your burdens with you. And finally, just live one day at a time. Trust God for today's needs and refuse to get crushed by worrying about tomorrow.
So, as we close out our time, I want to leave you with this one simple question. Let's make this practical. Don't try to fix everything all at once. Just ask yourself, what is one small step I can take today to help secure my anchor? Maybe it's texting a friend for prayer. Maybe it's writing down one of those promises on a sticky note. What's your one small step?
To continue on this journey, we highly recommend visiting revivalwavesofgloryministries.com for more incredible resources from Bill Vincent. Thank you for listening to the Deep Dive Podcast.